was a way to reduce my waste, in a city with 400,000 residents, this is a green bin where our organics go, or for composting. See, they have their little green compostable bags and egg cartons. Trash, recycling, but what about organics and compost? Here is our compost. We have some fresh oranges, avocados, coffee grounds, some eggs, and you can also put things such as tea bags in there. Other foods that go in there can include meat, fish, bones, fruits and vegetables. We have some papaya seeds in there as well, dairy products, pizza boxes, egg cartons, paper towels, paper plates, but they have to be certified compostable, such as this cup and this container. The City of Minneapolis banned styrofoam containers to use for restaurants. And then we have a compostable fork. Here is our compostable bag. It's time to go to Van Cleve Park. In 1905, Sir Albert Howard, a British agronomist, went to India and spent nearly 30 years working with organic gardening and farming. The best compost, he believed, was 3 times as much plant matter to manure, layering materials similar to a sandwich, which would then decompose, now known as the Endure method today. Shortly after, in 1943, he published a book called An Agriculture Testament based on his studies. The book earned Sir Howard recognition as the modern father of organic farming and gardening. It is also believed there are mentions of organics and composting in the Bible, Talmud, along with Arabic writings. What is composting? How can you compost in your backyard, you ask? If you decide to have your own compost in your backyard, here are some steps you would take. Find brown materials such as leaves, wood, or cardboard to start the first layer. Second, for the next layer, find green materials such as scraps or clippings from and around your backyard. Continue alternating between brown and green layers. Water the top. Remember to bury the compost 6 to 12 inches so animals and bugs do not get into your compost. The compost should be ready to use in the next 6 to 12 months. Composting helps reduce the number one product in landfills, food scraps, around 30% of our waste, and makes it into a healthy soil to grow other foods and plants with. In Hennepin County, composting is available to all residents in Loretto, Maple Plain, Medicine Lake, Medina, Minneapolis, St. Boniface, St. Louis Park, and Wayzata. Other Hennepin County cities, such as my hometown Plymouth, composting is available through our service provider, Randy's. The organics used are placed in a 3-gallon blue bag organics BPI liner, and from there are put in the regular garbage can to be collected and sorted later by sanitary workers. Randy's recommendations for composting include converting food waste and food soil paper into nutrient-rich compost that fortifies lawns, flower beds, backyards, community gardens, small vegetables, and berry farms, along with rain gardens. Why should we compost? Doesn't it degrade on its own in a landfill? Individuals should compost because if they do not, items that could be turned into nutrient-rich soil will instead sit in a landfill or burned in an incinerator. This in turn leads to the emission of methane in the atmosphere. In 2014, CH4 or methane accounted for about 11% of all U.S. greenhouse gas emissions from human activity. Landfills are the 3rd largest source of CH4 emissions in the United States behind natural gas and petroleum systems and agriculture. Having large amounts of greenhouse gases, including methane, contributes to climate change. Other cities, such as San Francisco, are looking for ways to reduce, reuse, and recycle materials. San Francisco's mandatory recycling and composting ordinance requires residents to separate their recyclables in a blue bin, compostables in a green bin, and landfill trash in a black bin. No matter where you are in the city, including residential, office buildings, restaurants, or hotels, the city's program is available to you. In addition to this, every event within the city is also required to offer recycling and composting. San Francisco is working towards the goal of having zero waste by 2020 and has city employees to inform residents on tools to conserve resources and save money. Minneapolis and other cities can look to San Francisco as a model. For Minneapolis residents, organics recycling doesn't have an additional charge. However, you have to sign up by either filling out a form online, calling Monday through Friday business hours, or by email. Within the first couple of weeks of signing up, the resident will receive a green bin and can begin gathering acceptable materials to put out each week for pickup. The bin must be out at 6 a.m. on collection day and can only be 200 pounds or less. As of October 2016, 40% of Minneapolis solid waste and recycling customers have signed up for the program. Because I currently live in an apartment complex, which is not serviced through the city's program, a commercial company would be our service provider and therefore would cost money to have a bin. Instead, my roommates and I have signed up to drop off our compost at the designated locations throughout the city, such as Van Cleve Park. Before this January, I had never seen the smaller residential compost bin. However, I had noticed the large green bins and wondered what they were for. Places I had seen composting signs include the Lunds and Byerlys in Minneapolis and at other restaurant-like settings. I knew of others who had composted in their backyard to make nutrient-rich soil. However, I knew little to none about what actually could be composted. In the next couple years, I believe composting will grow in size to reduce the number one product of landfills and to overall help the environment and atmosphere.